What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Hands Off My Hobo Rocket. Today, we're going to get a little bit caught up on the NHL. Yesterday, February 6th, there were a good amount of games. Just, a few important ones, a few not that important. And then we'll get right into the NBA trade talk, trade rumor, trade deadline stuff. Since the deadline is in 2 days, actually, I think it's actually on the NBA trade deadline is either on the 8th or 9th. It is on the 8th. So we'll be doing a wrap-up trade discussion on the 9th. I have a few predictions of who's going to get traded where or who's not going to get traded and why. So first in the NHL, a few big games that occurred. One, Philadelphia versus Carolina. Carolina squeaks out a point in this game, but Philadelphia takes it in overtime. 2, Washington and Columbus. Columbus doesn't get a point in this. They lose to Washington, who kind of pads their margin above the Penguins. Another one is, I believe, Ottawa versus New Jersey. Ottawa takes the win in a high-score match, 5-3 against the Devils. The Penguins are now a point ahead of the Devils, I believe. Minnesota St. Louis. I'm actually going to pull up the NHL standings as of today to double check that. Minnesota St. Louis. Minnesota comes out with a convincing 6-2 victory. And Arizona and Winnipeg. Winnipeg still continues their dominance and won 4-3. Now, that being said, Arizona is looking more and more like a team again. All their young players are starting to work together. So top 3 in each division, let's give it a rundown. Atlantic in the Eastern Conference would be the Lightning, Bruins, and the Leafs with 75, 72, and 67 points respectively. I don't think a wildcard team is going to come out of there because the next team in 4th place are the Florida Panthers with 52. Yeah, 15 points behind. I don't think that's happening. The Metro, always one of the harder divisions to play in. Caps, Pens, and Devils, top 3 with 67, 63, and 62 respectively. Then, rounding up the bottom, Flyers, Blue Jackets, and Islanders, Hurricanes, and Rangers. All of them are somehow still in the hunt. Because right now, the Flyers and the Jackets, I believe, have the playoff spots, even though the Blue Jackets have lost 4 straight. The Islanders are tied with them with points, but they've played more games right now. Hurricanes are a game back, and the Rangers are, not game back, a point back, and the Rangers are 3 points back. So, it's anyone. The wild card spot is up to grabs for anyone in the Metro. I don't think the Penguins are safe from it yet. So, who's safe from the wild card? The Capitals. Who's not safe? Everybody else. That's just the way the Metropolitan. There are 12 points between the first place and the last place in the Metro. Compare that to the Atlantic, 75 minus 38, almost 40 points. 37 points separate first and last. The Metro is a hard division to play in. In the West, the Jets, Predators, and Blues are the top 3 in the Central with 73, 71, and 67 points. I think the current wildcard teams are the Stars and Wild with 66 and 63, the Avs with 62, and the Blackhawks with 56. Yeah, I read that right. The Blackhawks have 56 points and are last in the Central Division in the West. And the Predators are with 71 points, having played only 51 games. So they're ahead. I think, in my mind, the Jets' number 1 spot isn't safe. The Predators can take that, but the Jets can go on an insane winning streak. They're already on a 2-game win streak. They're amazing at home. So it just might come down to, the end of the season and those matchups. In the Pacific, you have the Golden Knights, Sharks, and Flames, top 3, tied with the Flames of the Ducks. There's 74, 64, and 62 respectively for those. Then the Kings with 61, Oilers 50, Canucks 48, and the Yotes with 33. There are 41 points between the Golden Knights and the Coyotes. That's huge. Just the Coyotes. Actually, it's just really it's a well spread division. The Pacific. You got one leader. You got 3 or 4 in the middle, and then you got 3 stragglers. That's fine. You know, you got a nice-ish distribution of it. But a game I want to talk about in particular, as you know, I'm a Penguins fan, is the Penguins Golden Knights game, because it was the first game Marc-Andre Fleury has ever played in Pittsburgh when he's not in a Pens uniform. That's right. It was Fleury's return home. And I gotta say, this is one of the hardest hockey games I had to watch, just because that game had my favorite goaltender, and really the reason why I started playing hockey and playing goalie in Marc-Andre Fleury, versus my favorite hockey team and kind of the never say die attitude of the Penguins, which I kind of take into everything. So it was a hard fought game, I'll tell you that. But I want to say this loss on Fleury does not tell the tale of how he played, and the win by Murray does not tell the tale on how he played. So the game ended up being a 5-4 victory for the Pens. Everyone expected it to either be 3-1, 2-1, 1-0, a very low-scoring game, because you have Fleury, who is only 33 and I think 13th or 12th in all-time wins, who easily could be top 3, because he's I think near like 3,000 victories. No, not 3,000, 300 victories. He's getting close to 500 victories. He could be a top 3 goaltender of all time. And he's only 33. He's got a lot of time left in his career. Versus Murray. Yeah, we finally got the Fleury versus Murray matchup. Murray, I think, is 23, 2-time Stanley Cup champion already. It was a great game, and it was really a tale of how this game could have been cracked wide open if the Penguins actually converted on their special teams. There was only one power play goal this whole game. It was in the first period, the only goal in the first period, by William Karlsson, scored at the 2:09 mark. There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 total penalties in this game. 1, 2, 3 to Pittsburgh, 5 to Vegas. 1, 2, 3. 3 of the ones in Vegas were delay game penalties. So that's just poor discipline by Vegas, first of all. But they lucked out. The Pens went 0 for 5 on the power play. Yep, the best ranked power play in the NHL failed to score 5 times in a row, and the 10th best penalty kill stopped them. I think the 10th, the fact that the Golden Knights are ranked 10th in penalty kill is kind of, misleading. They're tied 10th, but they play like they're number 1. They're just that good. The Pens penalty kill were 1 for 3. That's fine. No, we don't have the best penalty kill. Defense is kind of weak. Well, actually, not defense is kind of weak. Our forward depth is weak because Patrick Hornquist is out, Connor Sherry's out, and Tom Kuhnhackl got hurt. Well, Tom Kuhnhackl, he is a really, really important penalty killer. He's a big body, really good defensively. Connor Sherry is really important on the power play, and Patrick Hornquist is your all-around player. He can play penalty kill. He doesn't usually, but he's always in front of the net during the power play, and so they missed him dearly today. And he's week to week, not day to day, which is pretty bad. And let's see, Malkin scored once. Kessel scored once. Gensel scored. Ian Cole scored. Ryan Reeves, elite sniper. Ryan Reeves had a seeing guy shot past Fleury, the first one behind him. He scored. It's a joke if you guys don't understand. Ryan Reeves is more of an enforcer. Crosby did not score, but he had 2 points. Malkin continued tearing it up. And really, the Murray versus Fleury matchup we were hoping for between two elite goaltenders, we didn't get. We got the offensive juggernaut matchups. And this game was really dominated by a few players in particular. So just looking at time on ice, for the Golden Knights, it was Nate Schmidt, who spent a lot. He spent 6 minutes in the penalty box, but still played 22:06. Braden McNabb, Derek Engeland, and William Karlsson. Those four guys for Vegas really told the story. Now, 3 of those guys are defensemen, I named. And then there's William Karlsson, who I want to say should be in the conversation for Hart. Now, it's like an unwanted opinion having the expansion team's best player, in my mind, best player, in the conversation for Hart. But if not Hart, most improved player. Because William Karlsson has played absolutely insane. He's scored on the power play for them. He had a total of 3 shots this whole game. Usually he has more, but he's absolutely on a tear. But those 4 guys dominated for the Golden Knights. On the Pens, it's kind of on the other hand. There's only, time on ice was led by Sidney Crosby, Chris Letang, Brian Rust, and Evgeny Malkin. So usually it's the other way around. It's usually Letang, Crosby. But no, Crosby was out on the ice a lot. He double shifted a lot. Just because the Penguins lacked that depth on wing and at center also. Letang played as usual, 23 minutes. He usually plays a bit more, sometimes up to 26 minutes. Crosby was in the 26-minute range. Then Brian Rust. Brian Rust is turning into a top 6 forward. And he's playing on with Crosby and with Dominique Simon. And I really think Brian Rust is turning into a real good playmaker and a real good player. He's so quick with the puck and falling behind closely. Evgeny Malkin, 21 minutes on the ice. He's a beast. 2 points, an assist, and a goal. Let's see, he had 5 shots. Malkin-like numbers. And he's absolutely killing it. Shot-wise, the Penguins took a lot of shots on Fleury that had to be blocker side saves. While the shots against Murray were more glove side shots. So you can kind of see each team knows the goalie's weakness. Fleury doesn't have the greatest blocker side. His glove hand is second to none. Murray is so technically sound, but his one weak link has to be his glove hand, and that's why people are like, Fleury's a bit better than Murray just because Fleury has that glove hand, which most goalies are weak with. So Murray just has, he just has to learn. Growing pains. He's only 23 also, so you can't expect much from him. Even though he's a 2-time Stanley Cup winning goalie, you still can't expect Fleury-level play from him. Now, that being said, he's going to be an elite goaltender. There's no doubting it. That being said, let's move on over to the NBA, actually. We have some moves today on the 5th and a few rumors. So, first, one big event happening today was Lou Williams. Was not traded, no. He got a contract extension with the Clippers. So, that kind of hurts the Celtics, I think, in a bit. Lou Williams had an expiring $7 million contract, which was really nice for a team like the Celtics to pick up. However, the Clippers re-signed him. I think it's in the range of 4 years, $42 million, or this might be a 3-year deal with either a both option or a club option. The details haven't been ironed out fully. That being said, there are some teams that still might want to take on Lou Williams' contract. If they're very serious about having him in the long run or the medium run and going for back-to-back or 2 and 3 or 2 and 4 years, the Celtics still might want to look at getting a trade through for Lou Williams. because he's an elite player to come off the bench for the Celtics. They need someone like him. The Cavaliers are desperate for a Lou Williams type player, and they're desperate for his teammate DeAndre Jordan. DeAndre Jordan, it looks like he might not get traded, which would kind of hurt the Cavs, but he could. It's still up in the air. That's the one thing about DeAndre Jordan. There's nothing said about him concretely yet. Lou Williams, we know he's got a longer contract, so it's going to make the trade a bit harder. Other news today, it was actually learned that Marco Bellinelli has interest from the Miami Heat. Don't really know how true that is, but Bellinelli could be leaving the Hawks and going to the Heat. So before it was said Bellinelli could also be moved to the 76ers. I could say that is a good move for the Sixers. Excuse me. I believe they have the cap room. They just have to probably give up a few, maybe like a draft pick and a young player to get Bellinelli, but that would be a good move for either team. The Heat might look to make a push for the playoffs in a weak East. So it could work. It could work for the Heat. Bellinelli could be on the move. Tyreke Evans, once again, is either likely to go to the Celtics, Nuggets, or 76ers. The Celtics are most probable because they have the most to give up and they have the most promising future ahead of them. For actual trades that have happened, the Hornets and Knicks agree to send Willie Hernan Gomez, their center, to Charlotte in return for Johnny O'Bryant and 2 future second-round picks. I believe it's the 2020 and the 2021 picks. So Willie Hernan Gomez was part of the all-rookie team last season. I think this trade works out for both teams. But, however, Hernan Gomez didn't play much in New York, so I think he's going to get more of a playing chance because I think the Hornets aren't done moving people yet. He's got to compete with Dwight Howard, Frank Kaminsky, and Cody Zeller, plus another few players at that center position. I think if the Hornets are serious about getting Hernan Gomez minutes and getting him playing and developing him into a better player, they will have to move either Cody Zeller or Frank Kaminsky. I think Zeller is the better option to move. Johnny O'Bryant is a power forward, center, kind of that hybrid. He's averaging like 10.5 minutes a game, so he's putting up pretty bad numbers. I think that's more of a depth move for the Knicks. He's not going to get any minutes. Just blatant. They need the Knicks needed something back for Hernan Gomez more than just picks. They needed a player, and they got that with O'Bryant. And on the 5th, Tyler Zeller was moved to the Milwaukee Bucks, and the Nets get Rashad Vaughn and a protected 2018 second-round pick. So the Bucks kind of boost up their front court by getting Zeller there. That being said, the Nets, they're getting Vaughn, who's kind of like a okay-ish prospect, and maybe getting that second-round pick. And getting a second-round pick for this draft, it's I feel like the Bucks could get better, could have done better. It's a good deal. It's a good deal for both teams, but I think the Bucks could have gotten a bit more for Rashad Vaughn and the pick. They could have at least gotten a pick out of it, or maybe another player. I think the Bucks could have gotten a bit more, but it still helps them make a push for the playoffs and try to boost them up in the standings. That same day, on the 5th, Nikola Mirotic and a second-round pick are heading to the Big Easy, New Orleans, 4, the Bulls will receive a lot of guys. They get 3 guys and a first-round pick. They get Omar Asik, Tony Allen, and Jameer Nelson. Okay, so the Pelicans make this move right after DeMarcus Cousins goes down with a torn Achilles. And they get help up front with Nikola Mirotic. It's a good move by the Pelicans because it bolsters that front court that just got devastatingly weak because of the loss of Boogie. Mirotic is playing okay. I think he just needs more playing time. He's a stretch 4. He's a big guy that shoots threes, but also has to work on his playing ability down low. AD is obviously going to take over more down low. Mirotic is going to play more on the perimeter a bit, and he's going to work his way down low into the post. It's a good move for Nola, and they get rid of a few guys they don't need because Tony Allen and Jameer Nelson might get moved again. Probably, I think Omar Asik is going to stay with the Bulls. That's all for the moves in February. Now, some more rumors. Rodney Hood feels like he's going to be moved from the Jazz, as the Jazz look like they're not going to be making a good playoff run. Kind of sad to see. Rodney Hood, he's a good veteran player. I hope that, if he does move, he gets moved to a contender team. I think he deserves a championship. He's played at almost a championship caliber level, a contender caliber level. Let's say that. So I think Rodney Hood should become a depth player, a role player on another team, on a winning team. Let's see. Tyreke Evans has gotten some attention. We've discussed this before, but it looks like it's 7 or 8 teams. They look to want him. I think he's overvalued, Tyreke Evans. He's a good player, but he's not that good. It's kind of bad. Let's see. Anything else? The OKC is interested in Marcus Smart. Who knew? OKC wants to look at Marcus Smart. They tried to get Tony Allen and Rodney Hood. They're trying to. And they could get Bellinelli. They're looking at getting Bellinelli and Marcus Smart. Well, those are some moves. And speaking of Marcus Smart, the Celtics have said they're not going to trade him for a short-term fix. They want something long-term. They want someone that can help them in the long run. So they want something big back for Marcus Smart. They're trying to be winners in this trade. I don't blame them. If they trade Marcus Smart, they lose a good amount, but they need something in return. If they don't trade him, they're not losing out on anything. I think so. I think that because Lou Williams signed his contract extension, it makes it hard for Boston to acquire him. I think that was a big target for Boston, acquiring Lou Williams. Now they have to kind of settle on Tyreke Evans, and hopefully they don't overpay for him. Let's see. The Sixers are also looking at Bellinelli. Said that before. Yeah, that's really it in the NBA trade scene right now. That being said, there's 1 day left. Yep, tomorrow at 3 p.m., I believe, the trade deadline is done. So there are, I feel like Bellinelli, Hood, Evans, and maybe Cody Zeller, maybe he plays for the Nuggets. Big guy on the Nuggets might be moved. I think there are going to be a few big moves. Kemba Walker, one of them. I think Kemba Walker might be moved. Isaiah Thomas, I wouldn't be surprised. It would be shocking, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was traded because he's not turned out what the Cavaliers want from him. Isaiah Thomas hasn't played. He hasn't had enough playing time to kind of prove his worth. And the Cavaliers are now in that win now. We need to win before LeBron leaves this season. Because I think the Cavs are preparing for LeBron leaving them. And that is something that we could discuss on a later time on LeBron and if he owes the Cavaliers anything and if it's even okay for him to leave and say, you know what, I'm going to play my heart out this season in Cleveland and then I'm going to grab the biggest check and run. That's going to be for another day. Now we're going to go to the NHL. So, on the NHL, got some people on the block. Yep, Evander Kane and Rick Nash are on the block. That's kind of big. Now, also, I believe some first-round draft picks are on the block. Michael Grabner, Ryan McDonough, Matt Zuccarello, and JT Miller are also available. Nick Holden is available. These are all Rangers players. Hoffman is available, but it's going to be a tough deal. Zach Smith and JG Pajot are movable. Duchesne is not movable, and I don't think they want to move Hoffman because of the chemistry with Duchesne. The Kings have shown interest in Dion Phaneuf. Yep, and the old pile on himself. I don't think it's happening. $7 million, 3 years. Not going to work with the Kings contract system. With that, Minnesota gave up, I think, who do they give up for Martin Hanzal? They gave up a lot for Hanzal. I think a bit too much. Traded to Minnesota by Arizona with Ryan White. Okay, Hanzal was traded to Minnesota with Ryan White and the 4th-round draft pick for Grayson Downing and a 1st-round draft pick and a 2nd-round 2018 pick and a conditional 2019 pick. That's too much for Martin Hanzal. He's not that good. Easy, it's just like that. Evander Kane is an option for teams. Rick Nash also. I think Rick Nash wants out. He wants to go to a team that wants to win. Rick Nash is overrated, and I don't think he's going to get that. I don't think a team wants to pick up that $7.8 million contract deal. Unless he goes to, like, the Coyotes. And it's like, okay. Trade rumors are, Max Domi with the Coyotes. Max Domi has shed off any rumors. He says he wants to focus on playing in Arizona, but people are saying he wants out. It is what it is there. I guess the best available people right now for our Evander Kane. Mike Green has a no trade clause. He can waive. He's going to be a unrestricted free agent next season. It'd be $6 million to pick up. Patrick Maroon, Hoffman has 2 years, and he has a somewhat no trade clause. Vanek could be on the move. Pacioretty would have a year left after this year. He could be on the move. That's a big, big price you got to pay for Max Pacioretty from the Canadiens. Because he's only 29, he's got $4.5 million on his deal. It's a nice deal for a left winger like him, but it is it's going to be hard to get Montreal to give up Max Pacioretty. I think there are, for center-wise, because I'm going to be speaking about the Penguins now and who they need to pick up. The Penguins need a center. They need a third-line center. Jake Gensel is not going to be playing center when it comes to the playoffs. They need him on the wing, playing with Malkin or playing with Crosby, because he is a sniper. He is a shoot-first guy. Playing center, he has to be a two-way forward then. It's just not going to happen for Jake Gensel. So they need to pick up another center, because the Riley Sheahan deal hasn't really worked well. He's a great fourth-line center. Excuse me. Ooh-wee. That being said, They got Carter Rowney as well. Rowney, he's a depth forward. He is a 13th. He's a 13th man. He's not going to be starting in the playoffs. The Pens need to pick up a center. Centers that are available are one, Mark Letestu of Edmonton, $1.8 million. Nice deal. He's 32 years old. He's going to be a free agent next year. Good rental. Derek Ryan with Carolina, 31 years old, 1.45. He's going to be a free agent next year. Jean-Gabriel Pageau from Ottawa. He's got 2 years left on his deal, and it's $3.1 million. That's a pretty okay deal. Pageau's 25. He has room to grow. He's a good player. Nick Piton from Winnipeg, 22, restricted free agent after next year. There are not that many centers on the market. There are lots of guys playing left and right wing there on the market. Like I said, Evander Kane, some other players on the wing that are kind of big. Andrew Shaw. I don't think anyone wants to pick him up, but he's still kind of there. Nikita Shoshnikov from Toronto. Blake Como, Sam Reinhart. There are a lot of good wingers on the block. And even defensemen. Ian Cole can be traded. Ryan McDonough can be traded. Who else? I believe Nick Holden also. Dion of Tyson Berry. Kind of the backbone, who was supposed to be the backbone of the Colorado defense, is movable. So it's possible. I wouldn't be surprised if it happens. That being said, the last trade that happened was in January, where the Lightning get Eddie Pascal for future considerations. A very hot commodity this trade season. Future considerations. Great player. Got Pascal from the Oilers. Yeah, but nothing crazy in the NHL right now. Trade deadline isn't until the end of the month. So I think we'll start to see things ramp up just a bit. I think the Rangers are going to sell a bit because they got a lot of good young talent. The Penguins are going to try to pick up a center, and Jean-Gabriel Pageau is gone. He does not play for Ottawa anymore. Carolina is going to make a playoff push, and Philadelphia is going to try to make a playoff push. On the West, I don't really know. The West, the race is not as tight as the East, so I don't really know what's going to happen there. But that being said, thank you very much for tuning in and watching. Be prepared on Friday to get ready for a lot of NBA analysis of the trade deadline and to see if any big moves actually occurred. Also, get ready for soon there to be a kind of a rebranding of Hands Off My Hobo Rocket. I'm moving this and making it a bit more professional. So if there's anything, any content or any kind of suggestions any of you guys have, please let me know. Just comment it below or tweet at me _svish or send me an email. The email is it's pretty simple. It's the sportsanalyticspodcast@gmail.com. Easy to remember, so please send me an email and let me know your thoughts. And if you want to continue talking more about this, I'm always free to talk. Just tweet at me or email me or comment it below. And also, the Olympics start tomorrow, so stay tuned and also watch the Olympics. Watch women's hockey and be amazed by the amount of skill they have. So thank you very much, and I hope you all have a good day.